Have you guys seen the ports? If you haven't seen the ports, go ahead and look in your search bar for Los Angeles ports or Seattle ports, because it is being reported they're an absolute ghost town. And the last ships are coming in at the end of this month. And on the East Coast, it's not getting any better. The last ship coming in from China is targeted for May 10th. And if you look at ports in China, the largest port in China, it is an active, busy hub. So it shows you it's not something that's sweeping the globe here. This is not COVID. This is more directed. This is direct effect of Donald Trump and his tariffs. And I'm not going to come in here and fearmonger and say we're not going to have anything, but you better believe if ships are not docking and they are not taking goods off those ships and they are shipping empty, 40+% of ships are shipping like empty or close to empty. What do you think that's going to happen? The only logical conclusion is there are going to be less goods on the shelves. And it's not only going to be, your toys and electronics and things that you can get by without during a recession. It's going to be food, vegetables, fruits, grains, all sorts of things like that we import. We import a lot of beef and pork and things like that. Even though we have it here, we also import a lot of food as well, a lot of other meats from other countries. And you're going to see a drastic change in the next coming month. In the grocery store, in the retail shop, Walmart CEOs, Target, Home Depot, those CEOs sat down with Trump and said, look, the shelves are going to be barren. We are going to be in a huge issue. And even if he stops the tariffs today and says, oh boy, it was a huge mistake, that doesn't just turn around. So I myself am going to be going to Costco and buying some of those staples, making sure I have a big ass bag of rice, some beans, toilet paper, whatever. I'm not saying panic shop, don't panic shop, but just make sure maybe you buy an extra of what you normally buy. Get yourself a little bit of extra shelf-stable foods so that you make sure you have something, because these ports, they're empty. That's not hyperbole. That's not fear-mongering. That's just the truth. And two, you're not going to have those things on the shelf. We're not getting them in from these countries. When the ports are empty, the shelves will be empty. And this is all thanks to one man and his stubborn ignorance, just absolute nonsense, and having no understanding of how anything works in this world. We saw it the first time around and we knew it was going to be worse the next time. So here we go. Welcome to Trump's world.
I hope y'all waking up and actually paying attention to what's going on right now. The California ports, one of the busiest in the world, is looking hella empty right now, y'all. It's no ships pulling in, no shipments going out. And they trying to tell us, oh, don't worry, it's just because of the tariffs. The tariffs is the reason why this is happening. Maybe it is a little bit of the tariffs, but what else is it? Y'all just seen what happened the other day in some parts of Europe. Power outages. I'm talking blackouts everywhere. 50 million people was affected. And they talking about some solar activities. And now the supply chain is drying up quietly? I'll ask yourself, what moves easier through empty ports? Goods or something else? You think they clearing it out for business? Or they clearing it out for something they don't want to tell us? We're going to have to figure it out once it happened. Y'all got to remember, every time history changed overnight, it started quietly like this. I'm telling y'all, we haven't seen the full picture yet. But best believe, this shit's already in motion.
At least MAGA had the balls to storm the Capitol. Like, what are we doing? This is the most boring coup, the most paperwork-filled fucking takeover in the history of falling empires. There's no battle. There's no fight for the little man. There's no justice being pursued. There's just paperwork. And we're all still going about our day, going to jury duty, going to work, doing our thing, while our country is literally crumbling into the sea. We're learning how to can peaches and stock up on toilet paper in anticipation of the coming economic collapse. But we're not doing anything to stop it. Like, where is the opposition leadership? We had one little hands-off rally, but why aren't we, completely on strike? Why aren't we taking a page out of France's book and like lighting dumpsters on fire in the streets? Why are we letting this happen? Because it really feels right now like we're letting this happen. If anyone has anything going on that I can join, let me know, because I really don't want to just stand here on the deck of the Titanic and go down with the ship. The angst that's gnawing away at my stomach, the alarm bells going off in my gut are begging for some outward release. So come on, guys, what are we doing?
All right, so I got an aerial vantage point on the freeway as high as I'm gonna get. So I did find some shipping containers, all right, all the way past 46 in an area where I'm not gonna be able to access by foot. There is one rack of shipping containers, one. This whole field is usually full of shipping containers. This port is usually bustling, and it is usually full of cars and a shit ton of shipping containers. Like, I've never seen it empty. This is basically the entire area I showed you, and as you can see in the water, there are no ships in the harbor. There are none. So, I mean, really don't know what to say for you guys here, because I've never seen it this barren. I've never seen it not stacked full. I've gone every angle I can by foot. So yeah, I mean, obviously OC on this response was not calling me a liar. So I'm not directly referring to you, don't worry about it, you're cool. I'm just saying I've never seen it this empty in my entire life. Never in my entire life. And like I said, I walked here now. I walked down here, and those are the imported cars that I showed earlier. Otherwise, it is empty. So we all need to start thinking about what we're gonna be doing, guys.
So we're all aware that if the ports are empty, the unemployment rate's going to skyrocket, right? Because if there's no shipments, there's no reason to have all those people working. Good job, Chunk.
Guys, there really are going to be empty shelves and goods we cannot get within the next couple of weeks, and it's only going to get worse over the coming months. Here's the deal. The last ships from China are arriving in the coming days. They're not going to be sending anymore. They're not. And other countries have already said, hey, we're not going to send medical supplies. So now we're looking at potentially hospitals going back to COVID era protocols of postponing or no elective procedures at all, because they need to prioritize medications and equipment for the most critically ill patients. Rationing care. Rationing care. And it angers me because this is completely avoidable and completely self-inflicted, and it's going to hurt those who can least stand any suffering, the poorest and the sickest among us. And as a person with a human soul, that bothers me. And I'm doing what I can for myself and my family. If you are able to pick up some extra staples like flour or boxes of cereal, canned goods, rice, dry beans, household cleaners, some over-the-counter medications, just to have like cold meds, you know, Tylenol, Advil, things like that. Do it if you can. Go to the dollar store. They have them there. I checked. I was at Dollar Tree yesterday picking up a few things. Seriously, you don't have to spend a lot of money to have a little extra backstop. And I know some people are like, I can't even do that. And that's going to be the reality across this country, and it's only going to get worse, because not only is the supply not going to be coming in, what we do have and what we do manufacture here, the costs are only going to continue to rise because the demand is going to increase. And this is completely avoidable. So, are we great again yet?
So, what happens now? We are an enemy to China, and we are no longer friends with Canada. I live at the port of LA, and it's true. Everything's empty. The ships are not coming in. If anything, the ships that are out there right now, they've all stopped. Do you know how much dock workers make? They aren't getting jobs anymore. They are losing their jobs. These are the best jobs. These were the most secure jobs you could have in this area, and they are dying. And when the goods aren't coming in and the dock workers aren't working, then all the businesses around us and beyond are going to be affected. It's very upsetting when you do everything right, everything you're supposed to do, and yet we're still suffering. And it's not our faults. It's not our faults. It's the people up top. It's the government. It's the billionaires. It's the rich. You get what you vote for. And now what's going to happen is we're going to have a lot more angrier citizens. We are so used to getting what we want and getting it fast. So when you go to the store, do not yell at these workers. Do not scream. Do not complain. Go to your congressman.
So everybody's freaking out because our American ports are beginning to run a little dry. But what nobody's telling you is the reason why they're looking dry. Because they used to be flooded with Chinese exports. And if our ports here in America are looking dry, could you imagine how the ports in China are looking? Look up the images of all of the ships and all of the cargo containers that are in Shanghai's port alone. You don't have to look at all China. Look at Shanghai ports. Thousands amongst thousands of ships that are disabled because they have nowhere to ship containers to. Tens of thousands of cargo containers that are filled with products that now the Chinese are having to take those items out of the containers to try to salvage some of those goods if possible. But guess what? The United States is still selling our exports. Because unlike China, 18 countries have already come to agreements with the United States on this tariff policy. And we are still working on figuring out all the little details with all of these other countries that are coming in. But how many people, other than maybe South Africa, maybe, have agreed to China's tariffs and to officially trading with China? You may get a few here and there, if that. But everybody that China has gone to has said, we're sorry, we cannot consume as much as America consumes. But on the contrary, other nations are telling us we can make what China makes. So we're still winning.
The ports are empty. There are no cargo ships coming into the United States. I was at Walmart today. I know we're boycotting, y'all. I know we're boycotting, but I was there. And I asked the woman, have you heard anything about your shipments? She said just that they won't be coming as much. So whatever you need, get it now.
There are no more ships coming from China. Reports from Seattle, Oakland, Long Beach saying their ports are becoming empty. Very, very, very few goods are still arriving from China now, which means the trade war that Trump has enacted and the tariff plan is going to start working its way into our wallets. We're going to see a lot more empty shelves. There are going to be a lot more pricing on goods because we, as the biggest consumer against the biggest producer, will no longer be able to hold the supply that we want. Therefore, yeah, we're going to start seeing the trade war actually happen. Regardless if you voted for Trump, if you didn't, this will affect every single one of us. It has nothing to do with political notion, really. If this is what you voted for, you are about to reap what you sow. Trump has started a war with the biggest producer in the world as the biggest consumer in the world. So this will affect every single person living in America. Take out all the immigration issues, all the other bullshit that's happening with that administration. This is one of those. Gas prices, grocery prices will lower on day one. We're at day 100 something. It is not lowering, and I don't think it will in the nearby future. So stay safe out there.
Want to know why the ports are empty? The US dollar is losing its value. That's why. I don't want to hear about fix your credit. I don't want to hear no lies about my side hustle made me $20,000. I make more money on my side hustle than I do doing my regular 9 to 5. I don't want to hear none of that bullshit. Do you have any eggs? Do you have any cows or goat in your backyard? Do you have any chickens? Right now is the best time to start utilizing our natural instincts. I am so fucking serious right now. If you know how to fish and hunt, you better do it. And if not, you better fucking learn. Don't know how to grow anything? You can buy a little grow kit off of Amazon. Y'all better start doing something. Because the ports are empty and the US dollar is losing its value, and eventually there's going to be famine. That's what it's going to come down to, to survival of the fittest. Either you know how to survive or you don't. Aesthetics don't help you survive, baby. These little neutral colored couches and damn pictures y'all got on the walls and the little tapping of the coffee cups and shit, that's not going to do nothing for you in the next couple of weeks. Y'all better learn how to eat. And you better learn how to hunt, and you better learn how to grow some shit. And I'm not even going to hold you. If you want to grow it, you better grow it now. Because when it gets summertime, watch that heat be so hot that not even the plants and the fruits will be able to withstand it. I promise you. I promise you that. The days of living the luxury lifestyle or portraying the lifestyle of luxury are over. It is time to learn how to survive out here in these streets. I'm dead ass. All right? I am so fucking serious. Get you a bread maker and start making you some bread. That's what you need to be doing. Because shit is finna get real fast.
So the government's not going to openly tell you guys that the ports are empty right now. They're not going to openly tell you that you need to stock up on supplies and that we probably got about 2 weeks left before this shit comes to our doorstep. So China has officially stopped exports to the U.S., so expect to see empty shelves in about 2 weeks. Of course, not everything, but the stuff that we will have is probably going to be about 10 times the amount. Expect to see hospitals closing down, as Hong Kong is one of the largest suppliers of hospital goods in the U.S., so there's not going to be many supplies. Expect to see a lot of layoffs. If products aren't coming in, that means truckers have no goods to move. Therefore, the logistics companies have really nothing to do. And then possibly hitting people who work retail, because if there's no items, no goods to put on the shelves, what are you guys going to do? And this isn't to say that things won't get back on track, but it is going to get ugly before it gets pretty. And if we're already not getting shipments, then we're going to get hit. And if China does decide to send goods, it's still going to take some time for everything to get back on track. So expect to see delays no matter what. I advise you guys to stock up on supplies now. Don't panic and make a plan while you still have time.